And talking about all the latest happening, World Cup, Eco KBC, each of the 32 teams have played at least 2 matches and only 1 match remains as we wait for the round of 16, which is the knockout round. Also, champions France were the first to book a place in the last 16, other than the French and the Portuguese, led by the GOAT himself, Cristiano Ronaldo, have also booked a slot. We're talking about slots. African teams have mixed fortunes. Morocco having one of the best performances in World Cup, beat Belgium, and other 4 teams have also a realistic chance of moving on to the round of 16 or the knockout round. But that is right here on KBC. And remember, we are bringing you those matches live from Qatar. And the action is in Qatar. But of course, you tune in to KBC Channel 1 and all the action free and very, very entertaining. Away from that, a lot is also happening here in the country. We still, despite the rains, we still have the ongoing drought. We also have a lot happening in the political and social spheres. And those will form bulk of what we will be discussing on this show. Thank you indeed so much for joining us. My name is Njue, and my colleague, Susan Thuku? Okay, my director informed me who exactly we have for the sign language interpretation, but thank you so much for joining us. In the first hour, we're talking about something that has affected almost everyone in the world, but it depends on how you have been affected. Talking about the drought. The northern part of Kenya has been worst affected, but the Horn of Africa has been worst affected by drought, which has been caused by a number of factors, which we'll be looking at a little bit later. But the government has stepped up its efforts to ensure that Kenyans have food in all the corners. And despite that, it's more or less like overwhelming, because the government has also engaged other partners, including development partners and also well-wishers, Kenyans like you, to assist alleviate the suffering of our brothers and sisters in the over 30 counties where food is needed. And something else that has come up, talking about development partners and friends, I'm also joined now by a friend who is helping out in any way he can. Well, he started out as a philanthropist, but has grown in leaps and bounds to accommodate a lot. He has a hospital, a school, helps the orphans, the widows. But these people, in as much as they are helping the country, the economy, they are also suffering as well. How has the philanthropist world, and especially when it comes to the food provision, been in the last couple of days, in the last couple of months? Well, joining us now is Njue Ogada. Njue Ogada is the director of God Will Provide Orphanage Home, and also has a hospital and school in Oyugis. Newton, karibu sana my brother.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
It's long. I don't know what happened.
The house is even bigger now, right?
Yeah, it's nice.
We also have a studio here because of the World Cup as well.
Yes.
How have things been? Because, just be honest, in as much as you guys get your money, in wherever you get your money, things have been a little bit tighter.
Yes.
Cost of fuel, recession, drought. You operate an orphanage and a home that gives hope and material things to people, but the recession has also hit you. Or how have been things?
It's not easy as before. I think when I was here last few years, we were talking about the life, but now the life is not the life that we've been talking about. Before election, we had COVID-19, which actually interfered with world economy. Then after that, the issue of Russia and Ukraine hit the whole world again, because you know they're those who fund many other countries. And then now we have the drought. So we have 3 major things, major issues that actually affected the world economically. But the way it is now is, I've never seen it since, because the price of fuel Since I was born, we have never realized the price that we are now fueling our vehicles. And you know, when the fuel rise, everything rise, because everything we get through using the fuel. And again, the drought. You know, the drought is something that we cannot control. It's beyond us. Heat again, most of the countries, not only Kenya. This bring a lot of confusion when it comes to support to the community. Let me just say that we thank the government for chipping in and looking food left and right to support the people, because a number are dying because of a crisis that we are having now. But even on our side, it's not easy, because even those who have been supporting us frequently, most of them pulled out. Not because they want, because the life is not easy back in America, in Europe. It is a world problem. So it has not been easy.
And unfortunately, more and more people are in need of your help, despite your coffers running dry.
Yes. Every day, even today, I know some people came to my home, though I left very early, so they could not manage to find me. It is a situation where we are living in, and it takes us as far as even taking loans. Because you will find there's some families that you cannot leave, you cannot abandon them. You have to make sure that you're pushing, you're moving. You know, we are running a school. You cannot tell the children that we cannot have meal because of drought and the war in Ukraine and what have you, and the fuel. You have to find a way of doing things. So for the past 2 years, it has not been too easy for those who are running non-profit organizations. It is a difficult project that few are managing, and you can even see many people are closing because you have nothing to do. So, but I thank God on our side, I've been managing somehow. We take some loans. We still have some few people who support with a little, but not enough. Even if I say that maybe I've been still receiving what I was receiving before, but the price of food was not the same as before. So which means if I was receiving, let's say maybe 1 million shillings per month or 2 million per month, and the price of food is not like before then. So now it's not easy to manage the project and to support the people. It is not. Yeah.
Now, there is a topic of discussion that just refuses to go. That is the GMOs. And of course, a lot of Kenyans, and especially in the northern frontier, require urgent food donations. And yesterday, the High Court said that it issued an injunction to stop any importation of the GMOs. The government had lifted the ban on GMO. The cabinet actually lifted that ban, and the Trade Ministry was about to import about 10 million bags of the GMO maize, which has, of course, some people are talking about, yes, we are in a situation that we cannot afford to add more problems. They talk about GMOs have not really been cleared as safe for consumption. Others talking about research has shown a lot of people in the world are consuming these foods, but they are fine. I would like to pick your mind on that, because maybe it could alleviate the situation we are in.
Like for now, you know, the problem in our country is a lot of politics. We politicize everything. Even if we say now we are not bringing the GMO, people will still say, can you just bring it? So I think the situation where we reach now, we don't need to politicize everything, because the same food other people are consuming it. And maybe those who are making it to be a political ground, I have no problem back in the ground. They stay in Nairobi, they live in Nairobi. They don't know what it takes. Let me tell you, when you go back to the village, 2 kg of maize is close to 200 shillings. That is the only maize. You have not had anything in it. So I think what the government should plan to do, we need to go back to agriculture. Whenever we start getting rain, the government should bring down the fertilizer to the people, the seeds to the people, and the Ministry of Agriculture must be active in all the offices. That is what will help this our country. Again, the drought. When you talk about the drought and you see the eastern was really affected. The coastal was really affected. Even many other places. The problem is not that we don't have rain. The problem is that we are consuming a lot. If we dig or we use the machine to dig the boreholes, we will get enough water to do some irrigation.
Or even collect the ones
even we can. Exactly, like now it's raining. We have not even enough plan of collecting what we are now wasting going down. Because we could actually think of, instead of bringing food from outside the country, you know, by the time we import things, we are spending money going to other people's pocket. Why don't we help? Now we can because we don't have food. But after this should be a lesson to us that we need to drill boreholes. We need to find a way of doing irrigation. We need even to collect the rain, the water that we are getting from rain, so that in the next season when we are being affected again, then we will not have all these problems. We will have food. And this economy will forever collapse if you cannot manage the food security in this country. So the only thing we can do to support the situation we are now is actually to abandon some ministry. Then we pick the 3 or 4, we pick the health, we pick the Ministry of Education, and then we go to the agriculture. The rest can wait a little bit, and then we get the money to
or
make
even
sure
we can shift focus on this trip.
Exactly, we can shift. We can have those other ministry, but we can shift focus on this, and all the money we have, we can take to these 3 ministry: education, health, and food. Now, as we speak, I heard the government say, they announced that the school fee must be. They are going to raise the school fee. All the government schools are going to raise the school fee. Where do you think this common mwananchi will get money to pay school fee while they don't have food to eat in the house? Which means there's a lot of people who will not take their children to school. Health-wise, if you go to the hospital, there's no medicine. You don't know where the medicine went. So maybe you don't have food to eat. You don't have money to pay school fee. Then you get sick, and then you go to the hospital, there's no medicine. So I like the way Minister said recently that if you're a Kenyan, you're a candidate to death.
Oh, the CS, and of course the CS Moses Kuria.
Yeah, because that is it.
A lot of backlash in the same.
Yeah.
And still on food, I remember the current president, William Ruto, said that it's quite a shame that 5 regimes after we gained the independence, we're still flagging of food donations. As somebody who operates a charitable organization and who feeds people, how do you feel? 5 regimes, all the regimes we ever had, including the founding father, have had to flag off food for Kenyans, and we still are flagging today.
I don't know if this is the truth, because I was not born recently. I think I'm over 40 years now. When I grew up, there was a lot of food. Yes. People were doing a lot of agriculture, and we did not even use the fertilizer on doing plantation.
And we used to harvest and
we used to harvest
in the farms. Now you cannot harvest and leave your harvest in the farm.
I remember we were leaving our maize in the farm for a week, and nobody was there even to pick one. So this thing, what happened, the economy of this country grew, but we did not grow with it. You know, when the economy is growing and you're not growing with it, expect the problem. You will never hide. What we should do as the people of this Republic of Kenya, we should grow with how life is growing. In the 3 governments, Moi government, Kibaki government, Uhuru government, and Ruto's government, Ruto has been there. He was a member of parliament, he was Minister of Agriculture, he has been a deputy president, he was a Minister of Education, and now he's the president. If there's something which they were supposed to do, they could have done it during his time because he has been there.
Don't you think maybe we are supposed to prioritize some of these things? Maybe a practical example is what? Like the way we had the plastic paper ban. Yes. Of course, it hasn't been effectively it's not been effective in eradicating plastic bags, but it has shown some sense of environmental protection. Yeah. So in the same way, all the regimes, if they prioritized food production in the country, just like President William Ruto is now doing 5 regimes later, maybe we could be having a different country altogether. No,
I don't think if that is how it should be, because during Kenyatta there was food. So there was no
But we also have to look at the population as well.
What they were doing during then, we were not many as now. What Kenyatta did was to implement things which were not there. There were no roads. There were no schools. You know, when Moi took over the power for 24 years, he focused on other things, like he focused on dairy farming, he focused on many other things, he focused on Njue, whatever, what he was doing. When Kibaki took over the power, he tried to modernize the country on this freeway, all what he could do, the CDF, the bursary, the free primary education. Because during then there was some sense that you can still have a farm and you do plantation. There was no reason to focus too much. But the problem that we had, that we did not grow with the economy. By the time there is a change or a regime, we need to grow up with it. By the time, you know, we remember when we start learning about the e-learning, the computers came and all this network system. We did not grow up. There was no good education. That now we are coming out from using fertilizer, from planting without using any fertilizer. But now we are coming to start using fertilizer. There's somebody who introduced fertilizer. So the problem that we did not focus. Okay, we already introduced the fertilizer to make us harvest in a big way. But we did not think we are killing the organic farming, where we only use the cow dung or other form of fertilizer. Manure, which you don't buy. So long as you have a cow or a goat, you will get it free. Then we killed that one. When we killed that one, then we did not grow on how. Even if last 3 years, farmers were crying because they were having maize, they don't know where to take. The government did not buy from the farmers to keep in our store. So during a problem like now, we give back to the farmers or to this country with an affordable price. We did not think about that. So my view to this is that we need to focus on how now we can bring back the organic farming. We use manure. We need to think of how we can focus on agriculture, apart from even the rest of the ministry. We have to focus on agriculture, health, and education.
And do you think whatever the president is doing now is very welcome? First things first, the first day he got into office, he said that we are subsidizing the fertilizer and we are going to build 1,000 more dams in a number of years, and actually mapped out at least 100 already mapped up, but he targets around 1,000 to collect all the water. Maybe this could change the fortunes of the country.
I agree with the president on what he's trying to do. So long as there's no politics in it. I'm not a politician, so I'm against it when it is too much. So long as there's no political side in it. Then number two, you need to deal with, if the dam is going to cost this much, we need to know it's costing that much. Because sometimes the president is not the one who is taking the money. And the person who is going to be in charge, the contractor, will take half of the money, or those who are issuing the contract. If we do is 100% without the corruption, it's going to help the country. Then number two, we have heard about all this for the past, I don't know how many years. But nothing has happened. I believe that my president, who is William Ruto, is going to do much better on implementation, not just to talk, to implement. And again, we need to study our financial status of the country. Do we have enough money to do the dam? Do we have enough money to reach out with the fertilizer? Do we have enough money to send? Because this country, we have those who went to school for agriculture sector. We have many of them. The extension officers are there, but they're just sitting in the office. To me, I was thinking in a bit different way. That number one, we have to find out what is the problem and where is the problem. If it is in Turkana, what is it that we can do in Turkana to modernize that place to be a place where people can live?
The improvement of infrastructure.
Yeah, that is what is going to bring food in the table. And again, if for example, let me just use this. If a politician call a rally today, you will find 1 million people in the rally. Where do they work? Where? Even if you call them today, let's say Raila is coming to Jivanji in the next 1 hour, the Jivanji garden will be full because these people are not working. I'm asking with a lot of humility that the president should focus on building companies. By the time we are exporting, we are rich economically. Now we can even buy that maize, even if it is 300 shillings, who cares? because we are working. But even if we dig dams and we bring all this, when there is no job, how will I pay school for our children? So if you want to build this economy to be an economy where an orphan can live, a place where a widow can live, a place where people who has no job can survive, we need to create several companies, this small industry, these light industries. And then we focus on what are we making as a country. If you go to Japan, they are more focused on vehicles and computers and what.
And cottage industries.
And cottage industries.
Quite small industries.
Can we choose one? Then we say each and every county we are building one company. We will only have 47 companies, and this will accommodate a big number. And that's when the people who are working are going to be taxed, and then they can save. And then when now we have drought, there is money, there's a security money that a normal Kenyan as me, who is working, has paid to the government. If you look the rate of tax in this country, the president said a small number is the people who are paying tax. Reason why? The bigger number are not working. Whenever they call rally, they meet with 2 million people. These people are not working. How will they pay the tax? But if we create place of them to work.
Enablers.
Yes. If you go to America, you'll never find. The president always campaign in the TV room like now. This is where they come and they sell their policy. Because nobody is there to be in the gathering unless it is something which was planned and coordinated even for 2 months before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, looking at how the situation has been, including other factors like a weak shilling have compounded the situation. Operating a charitable home, how exactly have you managed to stay afloat?
I told you when we started that I end up taking loans.
You have?
Yes, because I have no way to go. If I wanted to find the government and help me, and when I watch the news, I see they are asking if people can donate. So then where am I going to get anything there? Then now it's forcing me to measure doing some business to feed the orphans.
Are there some of the projects that you have also engaged in to at least try and get some more funds? Yeah,
like now, school is people are paying. Those who are there are paying their school fee. And this money is helping me enough to support these children. Though we were affected because nobody is having money to pay school fee. So we went we went out of food. But actually we got. Again, hospital now we have the NHIF. The hospital is accredited. And now when we treat people, the NHIF will pay us whatever little we are going to get. And all this money will actually help me on doing management to continue supporting the orphans. But if I could not be in a position to have an hospital and school, the life will be very expensive to me. I think I could already close the home. Because where will I take the kids? You cannot have them dying with them. Sometimes it's not easy.
Now, the head of state did task counties to ensure that they are more focused on drought mitigation measures as opposed to a lot of development. First of all, we have enough food. We have projects that are geared toward ensuring that Kenyans have enough and adequate food. And counties, some of the counties have even tasked development partners outside. We've seen counties partnering with the countries, with organizations, to continue giving out food and necessities that are required. What is the situation in the Yogis?
Not really. It is not good. The situation is not good because
preparedness is not quite the way it should be.
It is 2 months old. The county government is 2 months old. You know, those who are in the county, like the governors, most of them are new. And when they were elected in this position, they found there was a lot of loans and a lot of money pending. The pending bills were more than what they expected. So we still don't have the government running. Even President Ruto is still new in the office. We cannot blame him so much because he took over from somebody. So I think these are just...
have you tried to partner with your county, Migori, right?
No, Homa Bay.
Homa Bay County. Have you tried partnering with the county?
We are talking with them, but we partner on that. My organization is supporting a lot. We are helping a number of people. Even now I'm planning to do medical camps. I'm planning to do feeding for the widows and those who cannot manage. I'm on the track.
That at least will help at least alleviate some of the suffering.
Exactly, yeah. We are partnering on what I have. but we have not partnering that they can give. They still don't have money. In fact, I really pity how the government has been working. The county government has been working. And I think even those who were elected are regretting they could not take over. Because if you get an office where there is no money, and instead of whatever you're receiving, you're paying loans and you're paying the contractors, and it is not easy even for them. So at times we don't bother them so much, but we do what can help the situation as per now. Yeah.
And in case you just joined us, this is the great KBC, and this is News Check, where we are looking at a number of factors, and especially when it comes to philanthropists in the midst of a drought, recession, weak shilling, all of that. In the second hour, we will be talking about the state of the nation, where we also will be looking at some of these things that are compounding the things in the country, including the politics of the day and also some of the socio-economic activities currently in the nation. But for now, we are with Newton Ogada, who is the director of God Will Provide, all the way from Homa Bay County. Now, the last time we were with you, you talked about cases of gender-based violence.
Yes.
Teenage pregnancies, more orphans and more widows.
Yes.
How is the situation now, and especially when it comes to the GBVs, the gender-based violence cases that you are handling?
It's adding up. When there's a crisis of food and all other things, people do a lot of stupid things. This is the time that the evil people take advantage of using these girls and women. They take, because they can give them few shillings to go and feed back their children. In Homa Bay County, I tried. We actually ran our mentorship program for a while now, and we have been engaging more girls on supporting with sanitary towels, and again the hygiene, and we are trying to make sure that they understand. And health talks, we are doing them still. But the number is still adding up because of the situation we are now. It is not easy for some families to feed themselves. So you'll find the mothers, they are going deeper to engage on things which are not right because they need money, you know. But this, I think, only God will help. We will try as human, but there's a section that now you leave to God to change the mindset of a human being, because mindset is a challenge to each and every person. So we are still doing it, we are still handling it. Like when I go back home, we are going to organize for the girls training after they finish, because we have those who are doing class 8, we have those who are doing Form 4, they will be at home for 2 months. Yeah. So we are going to engage again so hard in the ground to make sure that we mentor them not to engage on things which will not help their life in the future. Yes.
And talking about a philanthropist, you're one of them. Bill Gates was here, I think, a week and a half ago. And we also have, incidentally, I was reading an article about a 10-year-old philanthropist who is marshalling from Kenya. Actually, her name is Aline Akinyi.
Yes.
Who is a philanthropist. And you've talked about mentorship. One thing people think about when you talk about philanthropist is somebody who has a lots of money, who has lots of wealth, but it's about giving. 10-year-old, she has actually been shortlisted for an international award just because of the little things that she is she's able to do. She's actually almost the age of my daughter, but she's able to marshal people, talk to people, and whatever she has, she's able to share that.
You know, people take us in a different way. When people see us supporting or helping, they think we have the money. I wish they could learn the stress we have. When I joined this organization, even when I left what I was doing and joined to support people, I was having black hair, but now I have gray hair all over. Reason, you cannot sleep in your house like any other person. Number two, you don't have that money. You are not working. If somebody asks me, Newton, where do you work? I don't earn any salary. I depend on what people are supporting me from the US. I depend on the business that I'm doing to support our people. The heart that God has given to us it is understandable. heart that accept each and every person who comes to you with a challenge. You know, so you cannot do it because you have money. We know those who have money in this country. If you drive here, all these buildings belongs to other people. Even if you follow them, you might find that they have not supported even one person apart from their family members. You know, so it's not about the money or what you have as a person. It's the heart and the understanding of God that when you have, you share. You know, the Bible talks about love. How do you love your neighbor when they are dying because of food? How will you say you love when the neighbors are not going to school because of school fee? How do you say you love and somebody is dying because of money and you can take this person to the hospital? So it is not about how much you have. It's about the heart. Then when your heart is open to accommodate all these challenges, then God will send the people to help you support these people. And it's so easy. The people will say, Newton, we are supporting you. Newton, I'm sending you this money. Because it is not mine. Then you must accept that you are born and you will die. You must have that in your mind. And by the time you will die, you will never go with anything. You will never know even the clothes you are wearing when you are going back to the grave. So why should you keep all your money in bank and build all the properties while you're not going with them anywhere?
People are not opening their hearts.
Yeah, they don't. So to give is not how much you have. It is the heart.
The heart.
Yes.
Now, talking of the heart, and it's something that I had mentioned earlier, billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, they operate the Bill Gates Foundation. Yeah. And they were here and they promised about $7 billion in the sub-Saharan Africa to tackle issues like drought, poverty, and stuff like that. And in as much as we welcome this philanthropist, some pundits have argued that their aid always have a string attached. Maybe you're supposed to put it around your neck. What I mean is that they kind of have interests in as much as they do help. Have you seen that? Because you have a number of international donors who fund your charitable organization.
It's funny. Me, I always have only friends who are actually supporting me. When they support me, then don't need anything back. But again, African countries, it's not abusive language, but let me just use it. If you have chicken in your compound and you give them maize, they will just eat, but they will never think that tomorrow will be another day. They just eat, and the leftover they will just leave there and run away. We are reaching to a point that the NGOs who support this country will stop. Whenever money comes, like the huge amount of money like what we are talking about from Bill Gates, 90% will not go to the organization, exactly. Yeah. You will find only 20% reaches the people. Then 80% remain to the rich. If we don't understand that maybe the Lord sent Bill Gates to support the situation, does not mean that Bill Gates has a lot. That's why I think there's some restriction that now Bill Gates is putting on. If I've been giving you a lot and I don't see any, then I have to put some laws. I have to get something back, or I have to do something to help tomorrow. So I don't see anything wrong with that. So long as he's ready to support and we're ready to give back, we have no problem. Because this is our country, including me. We are like, we don't think there's a generation who are coming tomorrow, and we don't even think that there will be tomorrow again. We are eating everything. Like now we are talking about the drought, and that's the main issue here. What happened with what we got 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ago? We ate all. We did not even think tomorrow there will be another drought. Even now, President is trying to bring food in the country, is trying to do the dams and what have you, is speaking every day. But next year you will see we are repeating the same thing because we eat all. Yeah.
Indeed. And at about half an hour past, we're taking a quick breather, but when we come back we still have more to discuss, because looking at NGOs, you also guys need to be audited. We have seen some of the NGOs and charitable organizations being shut down because they have not complied with some of the requirements by the government. We'll be talking about that, who audits you, how the value chain, chain in terms of how you get the money and also how you distribute that, because at the end of the day these donors also want to see a lot of their money, just like you said, Bill Gates wants to see his $7 billion being used in the sub-Saharan Africa for the intended purpose. But let's take that quick breather, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to KBC News Check. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we are also live on all our social media spaces. And in this first hour, we are looking at philanthropy amidst a myriad of challenges in the country. Mention drought, mention economy, mention weak shilling, all that. But there are still a few people with a big heart who are ready to share whatever they have. But they also have challenges as well. And that is why we have Philanthropist and the director of God Will Provide Home, which is in Oyugi's Homa Bay County, Newton Ogada. And before the break, Newton, we were talking about the audit, because at the end of the day, in as much as the foreign aid is coming in, and the development partners and friends that you have maybe in the USA and other countries, they also want to know, how is my money being spent? That is one. Secondly, the government had, I think it's a couple of years back, raised the red flag in terms of some of the homes and orphanages that were being operated, and even had to shut down some because of cases of not really treating the kids well, and even some cause of abuse. I'd like to pick your mind on that.
It depends with the passion that you have. Mm-hmm. If you're the passion of the kids, mm-hmm. they are your children. The way you feed your children back in the house is the way you will feed the other orphans.
Like, for example,
yes.
in your orphanage,
yes.
What numbers are we talking about?
100.
100 kids?
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking a big number. And again, I have other kids who are not orphans. We're still staying with them. Mm-hmm. The way they live at home is different. So they are worse than even the orphans at times. What has been happening in orphanage homes that I've heard and I've watched in the news, that the directors and the owners are misbehaving with funds and even abuse the children. Those people are evil people. It was not their call. You know, anything you're doing is a calling. The way you interview me all the time is a call. The way you do it, we love it. I cannot do it the same way you do it. And there are some people who are doing it because they see somebody's doing it and succeeding. They have never
ulterior motives as well.
Yes, they have never think of I will die tomorrow and maybe my children will remain orphan. The way I'm treating this is how the other people will treat mine. I can be alive and I lost all my sons and they leave their children. Their children will be orphans and somebody will try to help. Will I want my grandchildren to be treated the same way I am treated this one? If you find the answer is no, then you have to do right to the children. My organization, when we began, we were taking children to a public school. I'm not saying that public is not doing good job in education. They're doing good job because even us, we're a product of public schools.
Well. Yes.
But I wanted something different. I started my school, now they are getting what I want them to get. And I'm supervising that much. Reason why we have an hospital, Beryl's Medical Hospital, I think I told you about it.
Yes.
It's about the orphan. I met an orphan who was sick and nobody was there to take care of this girl. Her name was Beryl. So I took care of this girl. Later she died. Oh, very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
Then, after the death, I named the hospital by her name. The love of the child. Beryl is not my wife or my mother or any other white from America or Donna. No. Beryl is the name of a child who died because of negligence. Yeah. You see, I tried my level best, but I could not manage. So I started to support our children. The children who has nobody to look into their health status. You see, so this actually come when you're not doing the right thing at the same time. You know, so those who have been doing this, I think the government once said they are going to close all the orphanages.
Yeah, there's a time they had really acted tough in terms of this. And do you believe that the laws that are there and the follow-up in regards to orphanages and children's home is quite to the point.
They came to my home.
They did?
The government came to my home, my orphanage home. Instead of doing their inspection, they say, Newton, we have nothing to inspect. But what we can tell you, congratulations and move on. We cannot even attempt to close. One day you will send your people in the ground and you will see a picture of how I manage my home. If you go there, you will stay in the orphanage home. You will never stay in my house. It's much better and clean than even where I'm staying. Because I believe that God has given me an opportunity to take care of somebody who has no parent, who lost. I still have my parent. I don't know how it feels. But 3 years old is having that experience of losing a mother and a father. So just imagine, then you take this child in and then you start punishing this child. You abuse this. Are you using your mind? What is happening? So those who have been doing this, I think it's just a curse or something else. But to my organization, even they want to do audit tomorrow, I will not close the doors.
Now, it's a good thing that you are given a clean bill of health. But some organizations, they didn't get that, and some were even closed. And also looking at, you've mentioned kids, and looking at your county, Homa Bay County, statistics show that there are a lot of AIDS orphans. And the government has tried at least to do what they can to the National AIDS Council. They've tried to rope in some more donors and also some partners as well. How is the situation now?
It is, because even now...
Because I remember the last time we were talking about that. A lot of orphans orphaned by HIV and AIDS.
Even in my home, I have such cases. Outside my home, we have such cases. But at least the government is trying, because we, like me, we follow up so much. So long as you have it, it's not your fault. It's a disease like any other disease. That's how I take it. Because you have to mix them together. And you have to be very careful on how you manage them. So the government actually tried to give the structure of how we take these kids, how we manage them. If you go to government hospital, you'll find they have their own, they have a place where they go, they get enough teachings about the living with HIV. And again, the government tried their level best. That's where I see the government has tried. That they teach even the mothers who are affected not to accept to deliver a baby who is affected. So there's a lot of medication, a lot of lessons that they are going through. So I believe the number is reducing. It's not like before. But now, those who are being affected before, they're there. But now they're trying, because most of the women now are giving birth in the hospital, which is actually helping 70 to 75%, not for the kids to be affected as their parents.
And also another thing is that during actually a lot of issues that we have in the sub-Saharan Africa is because of climate change. The COP27 just winded up a couple of days in Egypt. Where they talked about big fancy words and the deliberations, but on the ground there were protests, and some even here in Kenya, where they're talking about the West, who contribute majorly to climate change. They should pay. We're only talking about how we should drought mitigation, but now Africans are talking tough. We want to be paid, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who are hard hit by drought and famine. And that discussion is still hasn't really picked up pace as it should be. Do you believe they should pay us? Because I believe whatever we are suffering from a lot in the sub-Saharan Africa is largely due to climate change.
But you know, somehow we talk big and we want people to see us talking on TV when we go to the meetings and to the conferences. It is 2-3 years ago when our president, the former president, was fighting against Mao, those who were cutting trees, and it became politicized. In a way that Mao belonged to other people and Mao belonged to the government. And even now, I don't know the honor of Mao. By the time he was trying to talk about the climate, those are the things which affected the rain, even in our country. If we don't look outside the country, we don't take things serious. That's what I know. Number two, remember, in the Bible, Pharaoh had a dream of a drought. He had a dream of 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows. There was a reason of the dream. And that's where Joseph came in to support after interpreting the dream. The dream that we need to interpret is how to manage our country and checking on how our people can get food. That is number one. The dream that we should be...
GMO.
Yes. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about how can we support the government. The government is not one person. You know, people only see the government is the president. President is not the government. It's a Kenyan like Newton. The problem is the head of the state. We can only have one at a time. The problem begins with us. When I was growing, we had sweet potatoes. We've grown them everywhere. But why are we not doing it now? What happened? We're still living in the same land. We have not changed even 1 square feet. What happened? It is us. The drought is there, yes. But even the drought, you know, sometimes drought will come, but not for a year. But we could have the storage for the past 3 years. We need to have the maize, whichever we are consuming, at the store, because in 2 years, there must be a year that we harvest. Where did we take all what we harvested? We sold them at a cheaper price. Then when the drought comes, we have nothing to eat. Then we start crying, the government, the government, the government. This drought, we need to start changing it from the ground. That's why
I do support that, because looking at when I was growing up, breakfasts, usually we did the sweet potatoes, the ndomas, the cassavas.
Yes.
Banana. And the day that I remember that we were supposed to eat bread in the morning, it was quite exciting.
Yes.
And the bread was more expensive than the ngwashes and the ndomas that we have right now and the cassavas. But incidentally now, the ngwashes and the ndomas are now more expensive than the bread that we had been craving all our lifetime. So we need to change and refocus on how we produce our foods.
Let me tell you, when I went back home to start working there, I noticed there's no need of starving even in Nairobi. In my home, I have cows. I milk several cows. We get 30, 40 liters in a day. I'm not buying milk. I don't know the price of milk per box. Even one, I don't know, because I have enough. I have banana. I'm even now planting some banana as we speak. Which means we can do without bread. We can do without milk from the shop. We are doing without, even my school. We don't buy vegetables because we have them. And you will find your immediate neighbor is buying it from you and is not working. It is us, not the government. Now it is raining. What are we doing with rain? We are not even learned that the economy is collapsing because the weak shilling that we have. But let me ask you a question before we wind up. If you take breakfast, you take porridge and sweet potato, how much have you spent?
Right now, it's quite expensive.
No, if you plant it, if you have it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
If you take your tea, maybe strong tea, with banana, how much have you spent?
A little to nothing.
Zero. You have not spent money. When it comes to lunch, maybe you still have some maize, and you get your vegetables from your farm. These vegetables, you don't use even the cooking oil. You use the oil from the milk that you milked from your cow. You use, and that's the best milk we have, because it's still, there's no chemical in it. How much have you spent? Not completely zero. But we are growing with the economy in a different way. We went back to start buying bread. We want to eat chapati. We want to make sure that we roasted our food with cooking oil from different companies. We even know the companies. We know that I cannot buy this company. I have to buy this
imported cereals as well.
You see, and then now we are crying about GM, right? But where do the oil you're eating? Who told you it's 100% good? It must have some preservation in it, which is a chemical. You know, so it is us who are growing in different way with the economy, with the way economy is growing, and then we keep on complaining a lot. I'm feeding over 300-400 kids a day because I have some kids from outside at the school. But I don't buy vegetables. What if I was buying the vegetables again? So when drought is hitting us, we cry about the government. It is not the government, it is you. when I was young, around 10, 11 years, my mom sent me to go and buy vegetables, skuma wiki from a certain grandpa. And she gave me a little bit, and I complained, why are you giving me small? And she asked me, the rain which was raining in my compound did not rain in your compound. And I still remember that. When I went home, I did a lot of vegetable plantation. Yeah, because she told me the truth.
Yes.
I am lazy sleeping. She is 60 years old, 70 years old, and having vegetables. When I go to buy from her, I still complain. So what is affecting the country now is not the government. It's not even Uhuru's government. It's not Ruto's government. It is us, our people.
Okay. Before we also wind up, I would like you to look inside this camera and talk to Kenyans. I do remember a couple of years back, we had Kenyans for Kenya. We contributed 10 bob, 50 bob, 1,000, and it hit 1 billion shillings, and we helped our brothers who were starving back then. Such initiatives, in as much as we are seeing them now, they should have been scaled up by now. Talk to Kenyans on how they should actually be helping other Kenyans, because a 10-year-old is a philanthropist who has an award in waiting, I should say.
Yes, thank you. As I speak with the Kenyans, our fellow Kenyans, I am just a person like any other person, and I'm trying to make sure that I reach whenever there is need with whatever little I have. A time has come that we have to forget about our selfishness. We have to give whatever little we have to other people to support them in the crisis that we are having today. Most of people are complaining about we are starving, but they still have 3 meals in a day. But we have against other people now who cannot afford 1 meal in a day. They are dying, they have sickness, they cannot support themselves, or they cannot stand on their feet. I'm just talking as a person who is doing the same job, that we need to think on how we can help ourselves, and we need to understand the president. If they cry and they ask us to donate something, please donate. What you're donating maybe can be a blessing to your family tomorrow. Because what you're giving today, remember it will come back tomorrow or the other day to your children, your grandchildren, or in the future. Those will be after you. So please, Kenyans, I'm just talking to you widely enough that I am out campaigning. To those who can support, let's support whenever we can support. You can support the government through whatever pay bill they give. You can support other NGOs, and you can even support your neighbor. You don't need to go and send money to the government or to Newton so that we know you are supporting. Start behind your house. Find a child, take a child to school, give food, give clothes, donate whatever you can donate to our beloved children or beloved mothers in this country.
Well said. Thank you so much, Newton Ogada, who is a philanthropist and also the director of God Will Provide, which is a home and orphanage, and also has a school, and also tending to the medical challenges that are there in his region. He is doing something. What are you doing? That's a good question. All right. Thank you so much as we wind up the first session in the promotion of clean cooking.